Yeah, it's true what they say. As you get older, the less you understand technology. I just recorded an entire video and didn't turn my microphone on. So, welcome to my life. Speaking of my life, what in the hell is going on with me from a mental aspect? Uh, Man, my emotions are just all over the place. I'm fine one minute and bawling the next, and for no reason. No reason at all. I can't figure it out. I don't know if it's just the grief coming out in different ways or if I need to see a head shrinker or what the hell's going on. But today I'm shooting pictures and I watch a young lady pick up her young son, 4 or 5 years old, and give him a big hug. I burst out in tears, have to run back to my room and hide for 15 minutes to straighten my shit out. I'm in here watching the hockey game, the Team Canada World Juniors game, and Carter George gets his second shutout of the tournament, actually gets an assist in the game as well for a goalie, kind of rare, especially in these tournaments. And the camera pans to his parents and his sister sitting in the stands cheering after the game. I burst out crying because I'm happy for them. I've always been a sensitive individual, but not like this. Like this, it's bordering ridiculous. I can't even go out for fear of bursting out in flames because I'm buying a half pound of bacon or something. Fucking ridiculous. So yeah, if you have any ideas of, those of you that know me know that I'm not that not that emotional. I mean, I'm sensitive. I'm extremely sensitive, but I'm not overly emotional when it comes to shit like that. So yeah, and those emotions are going to come up here in a bit. So be prepared. And it's not because I've been drinking beer all day, because this is my first beer. It's 11:30 at night on December 29th, a couple days before New Year's, Sunday night. I just finished watching the Oilers suck and watching Team Canada win. So that was my Sunday, and then shooting pictures here a little bit today. Again, what have I been doing with my time? Kind of helping out around here, taking pictures and video of the grounds and of the events taking place to give back to Jimena and Francisco, so they can use them on their website for advertising or promotion of what they're doing over here. They've got a huge grounds area here, about 2 acres of area, and there's a pool, swimming pool. There's 4 casitas that they rent, a pickleball court, and barbecue areas. And if you've seen the video on YouTube, I walked through the entire area showing it off. And that YouTube video, and for I don't know why it has 903 views as per the recording time of this. Now, I think my previous best was like 178 or something. This has 903 views, and I checked the analytics. Only 12 of them are from my Facebook friends. I've got 5,000 Facebook friends. Only 12 of them jumped over to YouTube and watched. So it's all randoms on YouTube that have watched it. So that's kind of cool. And Jimena's just going insane over it. She's like 900 views. We're gonna be so busy. That's my goal. My goal is for you to kick me out because I'm making you too busy. And she laughed at that. She laughed. You're never leaving. They put up a new fence. The farmer behind put up new fencing. Amina come over, knocked on my door, grabs me by the arm, drags me over there. He says, "See, Wade, I'm putting up new fence so you can't leave." So, and then like, well, it's like Heather and Enrique's place. Yeah, caged in. I'm used to it. So yeah, that's what's been going on around here. What I've been doing with my time, that and running to the store every second day to get food. Is veggies are so fresh down here that they really don't last all that long. They're not coated with shit to protect them from the elements and stuff. So it's all fresh produce, and I like it fresher. So 2 3 days tops. Other than that, what else? Kona's doing well. We go for our morning walks and sit by the pool and have our morning coffee, and then go for an afternoon walk. And yeah, we do our stuff around here, around town. Tomorrow we're gonna go for a long walk. We're gonna go down to the river, take the cameras and the video cameras, and check and see if we can see any crocodiles or any egrets or swans or herons or whatever birds might be down there at the river, and capture them on the camera and on video. And if I do, make sure you check my Facebook feed for pictures and stuff. I'm always posting pictures and videos on there. Not so much on here, but on there, on here, I don't have the editing skills. I tried, I can't. I got to figure it out. It'll come. It'll come. Like anything, it takes time. It's a learning curve, and I'm so stuck in the photography end of things that the videography just that doesn't make sense. So we'll get to that bottom of that here right quick. The emotional thing in check, and I mentioned the casitas earlier. There's 4 of them here. I've got a few people interested in coming down, staying here with me. So we'll work on them. We'll get them down here. And then I've got my dearest friend Reg is coming down the end of February, and he'll be staying at the resort here in town, which is cool. I mean, it's only a 5-minute cab ride away. It cost me like $3.50 in a taxi to get there. And we'll spend lots of time. Reg's husband Todd and my wife Jo, of course, their ashes are spread together in the beach in Guayabitos, which is the way Reg and I would have. You couldn't have drawn it up any better, because Todd and Do. I mean, I told Reg a million times if Todd was straight, Reg and Wade would be single, because Do and Todd got along that well. They were just 2 peas in a pod that loved each other unconditionally, and yeah, they're happy where they are. So, which leads me into another weird thing. I'm not religious. I'm not spiritual. I don't believe in an afterlife. I don't believe in ghosts. I don't, none of that. It's, but, and this is going back 30 years, longer, 35 years, just between Do and myself, where our paths would cross. And it happened 7 or 8 times. We didn't know each other. We had never been introduced. We had never met. But we remember seeing each other in places. I worked at a camera shop in a mall. Do worked there as a janitor. She was young. She was like 16 or 17. I was 21, 22, something like that. We never talked. Nothing. But she'd pass by the store and give me a smile. I'd smile back. And that was the end of it. And then I left that store and went to one downstairs, Japan Camera, and same deal. Da-da-da. Years later, Londonderry Hotel. I'm DJing in there, running sound. She walks in. Again, don't know her. I don't remember seeing her before, but our paths crossed. Bang, smiles, blah, blah, blah. And that went on for years. And then when we ended up getting together, it's like everything she ever did in our lives together set me up to be where I'm at today. And if you want real explanations on that, because I could sit here for 3-4 days doing a video on what those things are. But if you'd like to know some of them, let me know. I'll gladly share it with you. I mean, the one that stands out the most is Do loved animals. Period. She was Dr. Dolittle. She is the only person I've ever seen go into the ocean with limited swimming skills, to put it mildly, and bob around in the ocean, just kind of free flowing with the waves, and pelicans would come over to her and she could pet the pelicans. I've never seen anybody ever do that in the ocean here. She's the only person I've seen feed a fox out of her hands, and Maylene and Martin can attest to that. We were fishing together up in, I forget what lake it was, up in northern Alberta, and a fox came as we were pulling the boats out of the water. A fox came onto the boat launch, and Do started feeding him leftover smelts right out of her hand, and the fox came right up to her. She could actually probably reached over and petted the fox, had we had another 15 or 20 minutes and enough smelts for her to win that fox over a little bit more. But there's that with the animals, and we always had dogs, and Do's love for dogs was she loved dogs more than she loved me. Let's get it right. And the dogs were all attached to her at the hips. And I said, with every dog we've ever had, if anything ever happens to Doe, I will have to put the dog down. Like our last two dogs, Rio and Dakota, wouldn't eat for me. I could feed them all day long. They could go weeks without eating until Doe fed them. And those are the two dogs that, oh, catastrophe. Those are the two dogs that I said that if anything ever happened to them, or if anything ever happened to Doe, I'd have to put the dogs down. When we picked up Kona, when we picked her up in Ponoka, Doe, for whatever reason, we took my car down. Doe, for whatever reason, says, I'm driving home. The dog's going to sit on your lap, Wade, because you're going to bond with this dog. I'm not going to be around forever to take care of these dogs. So you're bonding with this dog. It's like, well, whatever. Yeah, okay. Like, to me, that doesn't mean anything. Bonding with the dog. The dog's riding home my lap. It's not bonding with her. Whatever. Well, lo and behold, 6, 7, just about 7 years now. 7 years later, is attached to my hip, which I love. Don't ever think I don't, because she is my world, man. She keeps me going. She keeps me honest and out of trouble. Well, she keeps me honest. She doesn't keep me out of trouble. So there's that. Just there's so many just little things that even years and years ago she would mention it. You're going to outlive me, so be prepared to do this. And I've got you set up for this. And I was like, what the fuck are you talking about? You're like 35 years old, 37 years old, 40 years old. What are you talking about? Like, well, she was right. And everything she had set up, it seemed to go in order of exactly how she said. And now that she's passed away, and she passed away a year and a half ago, this door of opportunity open up for me to drive the motorhome down here to Mexico. Now, I hadn't been in the motorhome it was a year since Doe had passed. She passed away in March. I went into the motorhome in, it was probably March or April the following year, and started cleaning it out. Like we'd gotten it, and there was nothing in it, but it was clean, but it's dusty and stuff like that. So cleaned it out and made sure systems were working and stuff was working, got everything working, and pulled the pin on the house and moved into the motorhome, drove it over to work, parked it at work for this summer with the sole intent of living out of the motorhome at work and pocketing every penny I had in order to be able to afford to drive down here. Da-da. So, put it end of November 28th. October 28th. October 28th, I left Lamont to drive down to Mexico. I crossed the border into Mexico on the 2nd of November. I was here on the 4th of November. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th of November, I got here. 6,000 kilometers roughly from Alberta here, 5,000 kilometers, whatever it was. And not an issue all the way. Not a freaking issue. Got up the hill, parked it, paid Martiz the money for the year's rent, $750 for the year. Which, if you need a place to park, I still have a lot up the way here for another 10 months. So Kona and I get up the hill. We're in the motorhome, and everything's going fine. The first 3 or 4 days they're great. Everything's working the way it's supposed to. Da da. Kona and I are doing good. Heather and Enrique have given me a hand. We brought water, stuff like that. Got water together and got some groceries and stuff. So they gave me a hand getting kind of settled. And then Kona and I were in there. We're settled. We're okay. This is how it's going to be. This is where we're going to be. And then the motorhome started puking all over the place. Well, first off, when I got to Heather and Enrique's and waiting there, the transmission, I don't know what happened, but it didn't blow a line, it didn't blow a seal, but it dropped all the fluid on the ground. So I don't know what happened, but I got it back into the stall where I'm parking. And it's like, fine, it is where it needs to be. That's the end of the discussion. I don't have to run it again, so it doesn't matter that the tranny isn't going to work. Well, everything else started failing about that time as well. The electrical, the solar systems melted. The brand new batteries I had melted. I mean, just everything was melting. My water pump failed. Brand new fucking water pump. It failed. It's like, well, I got to find an apartment. Bang, come down here, run into Sanka, friend of mine who I've known down here for about 15 years. He's get, end up getting the room here. Sanka ends up buying the motorhome. I said, well, keep in mind you're going to have to repair the transmission before you can drive it. He said, yeah, I've got a mechanic buddy of mine. I'm going to go up and have a look. They went and filled it with fluid to try and figure out where the leak was coming from. Couldn't find a leak. So he came down here. He says, are you sure it was the transmission? I said, I'm positive. I mean, it's red fluid. It's transmission fluid. It's nothing else it could be. The coolant in it was green. That I know for a fact because I changed all the coolant in it this before I left. So he decides, well, I'm going to try and limp it home from there. I've got lots of spare transmission fluid, so I'll drive to the bottom of the hill, and if I'll check it there, and if it's all good, I'll just keep going and check it every now and again. He drove it all the way to his place. It's 35 kilometers from up the hill. Never had an issue with the transmission. Not a one. Didn't have a problem getting it started. The battery fired it up just fine, whereas I couldn't get it started for love nor money once I got it parked. So like, that's just weird, bizarre. We get down here and moved in, and everything was going swimmingly, and all of a sudden, I've got a million and one things to do to help people with their projects here in kind of the field Doe and I kind of touched a lot of our base on with promotion and stuff like that. I mean, all the years of hall parties we threw and concert productions and working with bands and stuff like that, putting shows together, whether I'm DJing them or we're getting bands in or whatever. All this promotional stuff that we've done over the years, I end up in here. So it almost feels like Doe has been dictating my life while I was living. Now that she's passed away, she's up there watching down, dictating what goes on here. Which, if it's the case, I'm grateful for. Don't think that it's the wrong way, but like I said, I don't believe in the voodoo stuff, man. But I could be wrong. I could be wrong. So, anyways, that's where I'm at. An emotional mess. Bewildered by questions from the beyond, and kind of don't know which way to turn with any of it, but just try and accept it and carry on. New Year's plans. Don't really have any. Joe and I were down here, I think 5 or 6 years ago for New Year's, and the show over the ocean in the bay was absolutely something spectacular. It blew my mind. The fireworks all around the bay. It was absolutely, it was something to see. So my plan, like I said, I don't really have any plans, but my plan is to maybe grab a couple of cans of pop or maybe a beer, a couple beers, and go down to the ocean and find a spot kind of out of the way, have my cameras, have the DJI video camera and the Nikon D850, and take some pictures and shoot some video and post them on Facebook for sure. And if I figure out how to edit shit properly on the DJI, which I just can't seem to figure out because I'm not tech savvy much anymore. I can edit pictures, but I can't edit videos. But I'll figure it out. And I'll try and post some on here, but like I say, if not on here and you need a link to my Facebook page, let me know and I can send you over there and you can check all that out. It's something to see. This area of Mexico that I'm in is, and even we spent some time in Manzanillo, which is way further south than what I'm at now. It's very family oriented, and I think it's all of Mexico is that way. It's family first, and then outside of that, it's family first. It doesn't matter what's going on in life, it's family. And that's another part of the attraction down here is just watching the families integrate with each other. The New Year's that Doe and I were down here, we went down to the beach and watched the show on the beach. And like I say, it was phenomenal. And then the Airbnb we had was right downtown Guayabito. It was right on Main Street, right in the middle of the heart of downtown. There's an area the locals call Four Corners. It's a four-way stop where everybody four-way yields, and that's called the Four Corners. And that's where the New Year's Eve party congregated to. It's the Four Corners. There's the nightclubs on each corner type deal, kitty corner from each other, and it's just music bouncing off of music, bouncing off of music. And if you've never been to Mexico before and you decide to come down, be prepared. Mexico is loud. It doesn't matter what it is. It's loud. It's loud 24/7. Um, it's loud outside right now. I've got the windows closed just to bring a little hush into the room. But if I had the windows open, you'd hear cars going by, stereos cranked, roosters crowing, dogs barking. There's a cow mooing because we're just down from a farm. So it's noisy 24/7. So be prepared when you come down. It's noisy. But like I say, we're downtown right by the Four Corners, and there's probably 15,000 people on the streets, partying and dancing and drinking and having a good time. And Doe and I walked through the crowd, and we decided to turn around and go back and get a coffee from the store down the way. So we walked back through the crowd again, and I looked at her and says, "You know what? All these people, all this alcohol, and I mean, we're walking through beer cans and stuff like that. All this, all the people, all this alcohol, and nobody's arguing. There isn't a fight." And both of us, yeah, that's actually quite incredible. So the next morning when we got up, uh, we are going to go out for breakfast that morning. And we got up to go out for breakfast, and I was kind of prepared to walk onto the street and see just garbage strewn all over the place. It was spotless, 100% clean. And it was like 8:30, 9 o'clock the next morning that we went. It wasn't later on. It was early in the morning. Everything was cleaned up. So not only do they party hard, they clean hard, they work hard, and that's the way it is down here. So yeah, I'll bring you some pictures and videos. Like I say, if not on YouTube, on my Facebook page of New Year's Eve down here, and we'll go from there. If you're going out for New Year's Eve, don't drink, don't drive. Not together. You can drink or you can drive, but you can't do both because that's just stupid. And that's about all I've got for now. Like I say, I'll try and hit up some more videos here of activities of what Kona and I are doing. Like I say, tomorrow we're going to go out and try and shoot some crocodiles. We'll see how that plays out, and we'll go from there. Anyways, be safe and die living.